Volume 2, Scribbles. Your early 20s, what a special time. The whir of emotions, the endless hum of thoughts, the overwhelming mountains of responsibility. Mount laundry. Mount always cleaning the fucking kitchen. Mount I need to work to pay my rent this month so that I have somewhere to live. Mount always needing to figure out what to eat 3 times a day, 365 days a year. Then refer back to Mount always cleaning the fucking kitchen. I feel like Bambi learning to walk through this world as an adult. The trepidation in my decisions, the shakiness of confidence in my adult self, the paralyzing feeling of freedom. Freedom of choice, freedom to break any rules you want and suffer the consequences. Freedom to make decisions for yourself without having to refer to anybody else. The freedom to steer your life ship in any direction. Will I know where to go? Will I know how to get there? Are we really even free? That weird, anxious, nervous, excited feeling when you're at the beginning of a new story. The intuitive sense that adventure is near. Except this time, the beginning of this story is your life, and you are both experiencing your first read and writing it all at the same time. How can one be the reader and the writer of their story at the same time? Ask any 20-something who has come to the daunting realization that they are at the beginning of their adult lives, and that any outcome in their life now rests entirely in their own hands. All the adult, boring bullshit you used to listen to your parents complain about as teens, and you thought to yourself, damn, what crawled up their ass and died? The weight of existence. That's what crawled up their ass and died, young Madison, and it will soon weigh you down too, as it does us all. Your early 20s is one of the most peculiar times in your life, unlike any other. While life at any stage can be filled with uncertain highs and lows, you use your life experience and wisdom to guide you through. When you are a teen, you use everything you learned in elementary and middle school to guide you through high school. If you go to college, you use your wisdom gained navigating high school academics to guide you through college academics. When you reach your 30s, you will use what you learned in your 20s to guide you forward, and so on and so forth. But what about that special time in your early 20s? The tender age of 21 to 25, when generally most people mature into full adulthood. Now, here's what I mean by full adulthood. Maturing to full adulthood is not age specific. Everyone reaches full adulthood at different ages. For some, it's in their early 20s. For others, it could be well into their 30s. Full adulthood can best be defined as the time when you work at least 40 hours a week, have some sort of retirement account started, pay taxes on the income you earn, and have to pay for the electricity that you use. Nothing humbles you faster than the electricity bill. It's editing me here. I didn't really like how I explained my idea behind the concept of full adulthood, or what I meant by full adulthood, so I wanted to add this little insert in because I just didn't feel like text was going to be enough of an explanation. We all know that becoming an adult equals turning 18. When you turn 18, legally, you are an adult now. However, the adult that I was at 18 is not the same adult that I am now at 24, and will not be the same adult that I am at 30, 40, 50, 60. It's just not the same. It's not the same. As you age into your adulthood, more layers and levels of responsibility get added on. it becomes more complex as you get older, the range of things that you have to handle. Working full time, so working 40 hours a week, managing the house, managing your finances, cooking all the meals that you're eating, but also making money to pay for the food at the grocery store so that you have something to cook, so that you have something to eat. Health insurance, what are you gonna do for health insurance? If you have to buy a car loans, paying for the gas in the car, paying for clothes, paying for makeup, paying for everything. Most 18-year-olds are not at that level of having all those different layers of responsibility. Like, most 18-year-olds are graduating high school or in college or just graduated high school and not in the full swing of managing all of that. You know, maybe some 18-year-olds out there are handling the full swing of everything, but not most 18-year-olds. I also wanted to say something that fast tracks you into a full adulthood is having children. If you're 16 years old and you have a baby, congratulations, you have now fast-tracked your ass to full adulthood, and you need to mature now because you have a child. Even if you're not mentally mature there all the way, you are now responsible for another human being's life. All those layers that go into it. Full adulthood. That is full adulthood. Hopefully, I was able to better explain what I meant behind maturing into full adulthood. For those that grow and reach their full adulthood in their early 20s, what prior helpful wisdom does one use to help guide you then? How can the lessons learned as a child help me understand how to properly file my taxes so that I can retain more of the income that I work for? The hardships I learned from in high school? I don't think I learned how to legally challenge a lying, scheming landlord back then, but at 24, I sure as heck need to figure it out. The early 20s are the funkiest time in your life, filled with unsurmountable fear, because at this age, you're so young in your adulthood that you don't have any prior adult experience to guide you through the obstacles life may throw your way. We always talk about the teens and the attitude and the hormones, puberty, negative body image, high school, etc., etc., etc. At the same time, we neglect to talk about the age-specific struggles that one goes through in their early 20s. We neglect to talk about the paralyzing realization of choice for a young adult with no prior adult experience, having to navigate thousands of new adult responsibilities. We forget to mention the stress that accompanies this age and only tell people to focus on the fun. What about the grief that accompanies your early 20s? The grief that comes when you realize that you are tied to a ball and chain of adult responsibilities, and that with all these new responsibilities, it further signals the death of your childhood. When you're a kid, you feel like you'll never be old enough to be a teenager. When you're a teenager, you feel like you can't turn 18 fast enough. When you're 18, you realize you're not 21 yet. But what about when you turn 22 and 23 and 24 and one day turn 25? You begin to fully grasp the concept of mortality and realize that you and everyone else around you are all stuck on a one-way treadmill that only goes forward and never back. No one talks about how at 23, the concept of father time finally sets in, and how every year just seems to keep going by faster and faster and faster than the last, and why won't it slow down? How did college flash by in the blink of an eye? How am I already 24 when yesterday felt like I just turned 21? I'm so focused on the bigger picture of my life that I stop myself from living in the moment. I stop myself from simply being. In stressful situations recently, I find it difficult to stop from getting overwhelmed, so I either freak out or shut down. I'm not entirely confident in my abilities as an adult, so I freeze. I fear the outcome, so then action becomes overwhelming and I end up taking none. Then I just sit there in this pool of confusion with the weight of the world on my shoulders that no one is putting on there but me. Maybe the exact ending to my life story doesn't even matter, because if we really think about it, in the end, all of our stories end the same. The weight of human existence the knowledge of our own end. This thought made me realize that if all of our stories eventually end the same, then maybe the end goal isn't what life is about, but the journey. It's safe to say that the beginning of my 20s were fucking hard. I mean, I'm still going through it right now. I'm only 24, so I don't think I've quite exited my early 20s phase yet. As soon as I start to feel confident in my decision-making abilities, it feels like life just chews me up and spits me right back out to not knowing what the heck I'm doing. I wish that every decision you'll ever have to make as an adult is as clear as black and white. I wish that every scenario you encounter has a clear good ending and a clear bad ending. However, this simply isn't the reality of life. Decision making as an adult becomes incredibly more nuanced. Multiple different outcomes could occur based off of one right or one wrong choice. And sometimes making the right decision for yourself feels like a bad decision. Yup, who knew? I wish I knew how to end this, and I wish I knew what to tell you. I don't want to sound as though I'm some ethereal, wise wizard who has all the advice to give and is the knower of all things. Because truth be told, I have no fucking idea what I'm doing. Maybe I will get better and outgrow this. Maybe this is just a me problem and not even a we problem. Or maybe this is the early 20s funk. That funk where you realize death is truly inevitable. You are fully responsible for yourself. The bills be billing. Your childhood is over. Your friends are dwindling. You can't stop crying. Your head is spinning. You realize that you will never be as young as you are right now in this very moment. That time where you realize life is about enjoying all of the little things, holding your loved ones tight, and learning to have fun along the way. Ah, yes, that early 20s funk. A time in your life unlike any other. And before you know it, you're 30. Gotta love your early 20s, right?